forget, it ain't the first 48 with 60 minutes.
Come with the king, best not miss. Even the score now, we need to score now. Back on that wall, when you hear that call, you know it's going down. We play from beginning to ending, you know how we finish. Turn to the bank, gotta handle our business. We need the ball, so it's time to go get it. Play with your heart when you hit, make it feel it. You know I'm with. You come to the bank and get out of line, we sending a blitz. Said who you with? You know I'm with. That purple and black, and when we attack, you know what it is.
You're now locked into Zone 32.
Spin-off season resumes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast spin-off show. My name is Jake. His name is BT. His name is Drew. Say what's up.
No.
Anyway. BT,
Yeah, so
you ain't
Grant,
BT, you ain't about that life. That's a Drew thing.
Yeah, Grant was supposed to join us tonight, but he's too busy watching Annie Agar videos. Grant's a big fan of Annie Agar. I think she's funny, so he's a little busy watching her. He said that he's just binging all our content from last year. And Will sent me some weird text about it being National Anal Day, and him and Big Dog Dad have plans. I don't really know what that meant, but we don't judge. We're a judgment-free zone, so neither of them will be joining us tonight.
Unless you're Rashod Bateman.
Hey, it's 2020. It's 2025. There are people out there that have bumper stickers that say they like to ride their girlfriend's cock. Hey, more power to you. It's just one of those Virginia things, I guess.
Look, it's whatever Will and Big Dog Dad want to do in their free time. They're I'm not going to get involved in it. I don't want to know. It is what it is. Just be happy and be safe, I guess.
That's exactly right. So, as BT was saying, apparently Rashod Bateman decided to get sad on the internet and put out a tweet. So, Drew, you know what to do. This is your thing.
What a fucking asshole. Like, honestly, we've skirted around the issue for the last year of, why Rashod Bateman's still here. I'm not going to get super into details here, but, his old agent is a fucking moron. Was just not aware of rules in the, CBA that essentially Rashod showing up late to training camp made it so that he couldn't get a fifth-year option. I truly believe that Rashod Bateman was gone, or in his mind he was gone, and that somebody else was going to pick up his fifth-year option, and that they were going to give him the Hollywood Brown treatment. And come to find out, he was just going to be tendered because he, wasn't eligible for the fifth-year option. Ravens threw him a fucking lifeline, gave him a contract that, in all honesty, he didn't deserve. He didn't do shit to be, worth any kind of money at that point. So giving him anything above, the second-round tender or original round tender, whatever the fuck they were going to give him, is a fucking gift to that guy. And, so he pulls his little shit last offseason where he gives that retarded interview to Glenn Clark where he's like, oh, it's on me and I got to go work with Lamar and all this shit, and then just doesn't do it all offseason. Shows up to camp, whatever, has a decent year. I think the bar was so low for him that him putting up, 700 yards and 8 touchdowns or whatever the fuck it was, 9 touchdowns, people are acting like he's the next coming of fucking Jesus. The reality is, he was a good wide receiver too. The drop issues was still there. He still just wasn't consistent, wasn't putting up big games all the time. Fine. And then you go into this offseason. I don't remember exactly what his tweet said, but it was something dumb like know your worth. And the thing with wide receivers is that, they tweet the lamest shit to show that they're unhappy with the situation. Clearly he wants to get paid more. My first point of contention is that you're getting paid like a wide receiver 3, and you've been in the league for 4 years, going on 5 now. You've been a competent wide receiver 2 for 1 full year. The other 3 years you were a fucking useless loser. So what are you doing, man? Just shut the fuck up and play football at this point. You do all this dumb shit. You go on fucking fashionista websites and give lame interviews. You sell fucking overpriced gym pennies because you think you're some fucking fashion icon. You dress like a fucking weirdo. You paint your nails. You get emotional when people make fun of you online. Like, you whine for the ball. I've heard that he checked himself out of a game last year because he wasn't getting enough targets. Like, just shut the fuck up and play football, Rashod. I really don't understand what his fucking problem is. Why he has to do the dumbest shit year after year. And, like, people love to defend this guy like he was some fucking great wide receiver. He was fine. But he was fine because we were paying him fucking pennies. So, like, I don't want to pay that guy. Like, fuck off. Like, fuck off, shut up, show up to camp, do your fucking job, and maybe you'll get a better contract next time, asshole.
Well, it was a 3-year deal. Oh, it was a 3-year deal. So this would be year 2 of that contract, my understanding. But with that being said, that would mean the next year would be last year of the deal. Okay, am I going to play this out or am I going to get paid? If you be quiet and you ball out, you're going to see the money. There's no reason to get fucking emotional over the shit. But that's the thing with wide receivers. They're temperamental. And this is why I've always been against stacking the receiver room. Because you get too many diva personalities in there. Somebody's ego is going to get hurt and someone's going to bitch and moan.
So to kind of move off the Ravens for a second, going into baseball real quick. Jabo here is saying O's are garbage. Many people are asking, and to know your worth.
Well, I mean, you got three.
The O's haven't won a fucking.
Talk about the fucking Orioles with.
The Orioles haven't won a fucking. They haven't won a World Series since the Raiders won a Super Bowl, and that was before I was alive.
1983. Okay.
Yes. So the year before, the year the Raiders won.
Orioles fans are the fucking Bengals fans of baseball. For
Absolutely.
The last 3 fucking years, all I've had to hear is, "Oh, Drew, the Red Sox suck." Blah, blah, blah. You guys won the division because the Red Sox sucked. Okay, you won 100 games. You got embarrassed in the playoffs. You got fucking swept. Okay, then last year you limp into the fucking wild card. You get fucking swept again. Okay, your good players don't want to play there anymore. Corbin Burns left. He's not coming back. Your GM is a fucking moron. He signed a 38-year-old guy from Japan who's never thrown a fucking inning of Major League Baseball in his life, and a 47-year-old who's like, fucking gonna die some point on the mound. And that was your fucking, bright solution to filling an actual ace's spot. Gunnar Henderson is gone. I hate to break it to you guys. The Scott Boras guy, you guys aren't fucking paying him because Mike Elias is a fucking cheap retard. Okay, your manager is a fucking moron. You have nobody in the bullpen. Adley Rutschman is the most overrated player in Major League Baseball. You guys can jerk off to fucking Ryan or whatever the fuck Westberg's first name is, or Ryan O'Hearn, or fucking Ryan Mountcastle. You got a Red Sox retread in left field and Tyler O'Neill. All last year, all I had to hear from fucking Will and everybody else, "Oh, Tyler O'Neill fucking sucks." Now you guys are fucking jerking off to him because you couldn't sign Anthony Santander back. Cedric Mullins' ass. I'm sure I'm missing. Colton Cowser sucks. Like, your whole team fucking blows. You guys are the fucking Bengals, and you're never gonna win. You're never gonna win anything. BT, shut up. You're a fucking Yankee fan. No, nobody's worse than
like I told you in the non-problematic chat, I have no expectation for the Yankees.
Oh,
I expect
rings.
disappointment.
Yeah, you won 20 rings pre-slavery ending. Congratulations.
Exactly.
You haven't won shit. 09, you won a fucking World Series. You guys are just a fucking expensive Orioles team. You have no fucking pitching. The only time you guys score runs is when you play in your fucking Little League shitbox field where, you hit a weak fly ball to right field and it's 30 rows deep in the fucking outfield. You guys fucking will never win in the playoffs either.
Absolutely, you're right.
Bunch of fucking loser franchises. I'm surrounded by fucking loser franchises. I mean, the Red Sox have been terrible for 3 years. They still have a more recent playoff win than the Orioles by a long shot. I mean, the Orioles haven't won a playoff game since 2014. Like, the Red Sox were in the ALCS in 2021 and have absolutely blown dick since then, and have had the same net result as the fucking Orioles. Yankees, every once in a while they'll make it to a World Series just to get fucking embarrassed on a national stage, which everybody fucking loves. Nobody likes the Yankees because, again, the 27 rings retards. So, I don't know why this guy came in here asking about the fucking Orioles. Like, the fuck? Not even know your Orioles fans here. right
There
now.
are none.
Will,
And that's where
There
Zamboni
aren't
came in
any.
here. The comment saying doing this without Will to defend himself is unethical.
Ah, please get the
well, I
fuck
mean,
out of here.
here's the
Have you
problem.
listened to this podcast? This is all kinds of unethical.
Here's the problem: is that even if Will was here, he would just throw out a bunch of, oh, well, we had the most wins in the AL from 2014 to 2016, and blah 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 blah, and a bunch of other dumb shit. Oh, Red Sox finished in last place. Like, yeah, cool, but you guys still fucking suck. Like, through the entirety of the majority of the people watching this podcast life who are Orioles fans, the Orioles have been a terrible fucking baseball team. You guys are fucking atrocious. You're a waste of a great stadium. Camden Yards is a phenomenal stadium, and the Orioles just suck it up. It's empty half the fucking time. The speakers are apparently like, Bose speakers that they bought at fucking Best Buy last week because they couldn't even put in a full fucking sound system. Your left field wall is the dumbest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't know on what fucking planet it's just gonna, in left center field, just jut straight back out. Like, the fuck are you even doing? Like, build a fucking, you're gonna push the wall back because your pitchers suck balls. You have too many fucking home runs. And then you're like, oh shit, we pushed it too far back. Our guys can't hit home runs. So now you're gonna fucking pull the wall back in. Like, what are you doing?
Being quite frankly, they're the redheaded stepchild of the Halloween colored teams because the Giants have been significantly better.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Giants won a couple World Series.
Yep.
They had that run there
3
with
and
Patrick
5.
Bumgarner and Sandoval. Whatever. And Pablo Sandoval's a fat waste of life too. But whatever. At least he won a World Series
and also fuck the Giants, to be specific. I don't fuck with San Francisco, but still better than the Orioles.
Yeah, I mean, that's really not hard to accomplish. Like,
Yeah.
the Orioles, the Browns, and the Bengals all have the same fucking color scheme and all suck.
Yep.
It's really a takeaway.
Amen to
If
that.
you have orange as one of your primary colors, you probably suck.
Expect to be trash.
Yeah. Anyway, back to more trash. Rashod Bateman. I don't remember where we were with that fucking clown, but remember the dumb movie reference that Jake may be the only one that gets this. In Mr. Deeds, he acquires a football team, and some dickwad hotshot quarterback comes in and is like, I'm not fucking playing for you guys anymore unless you pay me. And then Adam Sandler punched him in the face and says, like, you played great last year, but, like, if you sucked, could we take some of your contract back? I would have the same question for Rashod Bateman. Like, if you put up your normal performance last year, would you give the Ravens some money back? No. So why the fuck are you here crying for a new contract? Earn the next contract instead of fucking whining about it. Asshole.
This is his first time ever being legitimately productive in the NFL. And I was like, oh, I need a payday. Get the fuck out of here. You were almost working at a fucking Denny's.
Like, I understand the logic here that, like, he wants to make more money than he is now. We all do. Unless you work for yourself and you're like, I don't care, with some fucking world-shattering idea, like, you never get paid enough money. Fine. Like, we all sympathize with that, Rashod. But also, like, in the NFL and in sports, you get paid based off of past performance. And your last year's performance was fine, but the previous 3 years sucked ass. So why the fuck would anybody pay you? And on top of that, you're just a fucking, like, annoying personality. You treat this cryptic shit like, oh, know your worth. Yeah, know your worth, Rashod. Learn your fucking worth. Learn that you're not worth that much fucking money and boost that worth instead of fucking whining about it, bitch. I'm gonna get some angry DMs about that one too, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely, you will.
There's people in Rashod's camp that love to be like, oh, why are you so mean to our guy? Because your guy's a fucking pussy. That's why. There's dumb shit like this. Always gotta flap his arms and make it about himself. Like, just shut the fuck up and play football, man. I'm fucking tired of hearing from that guy. I said this last year, and nobody wanted to hear it, but, like, if Rashod Bateman just shut his fucking mouth and played football and put up those numbers, I wouldn't have said a fucking word about it. But it's the fact that he's got to act like wide receiver 1 and he's like wide receiver 2 on a good day. Just enough. You're not worth the fucking headache anymore. I would trade his ass to fucking Dallas for Michael Parsons in a heartbeat. And I'd send Owe with him.
Easily.
Because that fucking guy's going to be always going to be the next one that is going to start fucking comes back to Twitter after 4 years and is, after Russo signs the extension and is, tweeting shit about, like, wanting to get paid. Like, yeah, you're not getting $20 million a year, buddy. I'm sorry, but you're just not that good. You're not worth $20 million a year. If that's really what you think you're fucking worth, then just send his ass to Dallas. I'd rather pay Michael Parsons $40 million a year than pay Rashod Bateman another cent and pay Oweh anywhere near $20 million.
Like, it's one thing to be dissatisfied with your pay. I get that. It's bitching on the internet. I'm like, shut the fuck up. If you feel like you're more if you feel like you're more valuable somewhere else, go see if you are. That's totally fine. That's what any of us would do. If I feel I'm worth a higher dollar and this company's paying me, I'll go explore that option. And if I'm not, I'll shut the fuck up and I'll get back to work.
That's the other thing too, is that it's not like these guys are tied to 12-year contracts here that they're never going to make another cent. These are pretty fucking short-term deals. Always got one more year after this on his fucking
He has
option.
this year.
No.
Yeah. Give Bateman
a blank check. A blank check.
Go fucking blow it on Balenciaga and fucking nail polish. Fucking boosts his fashion line.
Yep.
And not enough people talked about that when his fucking fashion line dropped too. He's literally, the fucking reversible pennies you'd wear in gym class for basketball, soccer or whatever. Like, he put some fucking weird ass lettering on the front of one of those and selling for like $120. It was arguably worse than the James Prochet butterfly shirts. Butterfly shirts were lame, but at least they were there was some design quality to that. Somebody put some fucking effort into making those butterfly shirts. This was like a screen printed fucking stupid logo on a reversible penny that you bought from Dick's Sporting Goods for like $6. Guy's an asshole. Like, I'm fucking tired of his existence already. Season hasn't even started yet. Offseason Rashod Bateman is like the worst human being in the world.
Oh, absolutely is. He's a fucking idiot.
Just don't talk, man. Just close your Twitter. Don't go on your fucking lame ass interviews with fashion companies in New York, and just shut up.
Our boy here said, "Nah, the butterfly shirt were a San Francisco wedding."
Yeah, I mean, what is Rashod Bateman dressed for? He wears fucking Janko pants in 2025. Like, buddy, school shooters were rocking those back in the Columbine days. You look fucking weird. Go away. Just stop.
When I was
back when I was in middle school, I used to rock the shit out of Jinko jeans.
Though,
of course,
yeah,
and of course, when you were 12, you all see
the teen kids.
Yep. Always with the little designs of the flames or dragons or whatever the fuck.
I don't mean to age myself and come off like a dickhead, but when kids came to school in fucking painted nails and weird ass bracelets and necklaces and big ass shirts and baggy ass Janko jeans, that was a kid that I was gonna flip his backpack out inside out during lunch and I don't know, shove him into a fucking locker or something. Those were the weird kids. And for some reason now they're cool. I don't really understand what the fuck's going on. All this sensitive, be nice to everybody thing. Those are the kids that got bullied. Why the fuck are you dressed like that now? And then you want me to oh, this is a fashion guy. No, you're fucking weird. Go away. This is a real old man yells at clouds moment for me. But
it really is. You are showing your age right now, Drew.
Yeah,
I mean, to be fair, it ain't Will. Will is the king of old man yells at cloud. That is his.
But somebody
motif. That is his
Will
MO.
is not here. Somebody has to fill those shoes.
That is true, and Drew is doing the deed.
I mean, even though Jake's older than me, I'll still fill the old man role.
There you go.
But here's the thing: is I feel like Jake here is a little more in touch with the younger crowd than you.
No, Jake is in touch with the.
I'm in touch with the weird kids.
Yeah, because you're in touch with the bullying victims.
Because you are one of the weird kids.
Oh, back in the day, for sure. I was straight kept to myself. Then eventually it was one of those. And then, as I got older, it was oh no, Jake's cool as shit. What the fuck? Yeah, it was. Jake comes up and everyone says, "What's up?" Just for being me.
I feel like Jake didn't have a set group of people he hung out with. He was just kind of there for everybody. So
pretty much,
because
I know, I feel that. I feel that.
That's very much an asshole to the mean kid or the nerd kids, which I don't regret it either. I made them better people for that, so they should be thanking me. They can make it through hardships in life now because of the lessons that I taught them in high school. So I haven't gotten a thank you note from any of them, but I should. That's probably the meanest thing I've ever said on the internet, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. Anyways, back to Ravens talk. I think EDC had a presser today, and the only thing we really got out of that is Mark Andrews, like you said recently, Mark Andrews is still up for trade, but it's a situation of we're willing to hear your calls. We're not going to go out and reach out to you.
Yeah, so he had a couple quotes, essentially said they're going to draft a cornerback at some point, like, woo, like we knew that. I mean, they were going to, they have 11 picks. One of them was bound to be a corner. That's not really breaking any news.
Defensive line's a priority, but we knew that.
Yeah, he said, there's defensive line prospects they like. There's, linebackers they like, and he likes the offensive line class. So, I mean, again, we were going to draft those positions anyway, so you're not really breaking any news there. There were two things that he said. So it was the Mark Andrews quote, and then the 15 guys have been kicked off their big board quote. Which one do we want to start with? The Mark Andrews one?
Yeah,
Might as
on
well.
the Mark Andrews one.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, to paraphrase him, he said, they're expecting to have Mark back, but, never, it's draft night and anything can happen. I read that as I watched it, or so I read the quote first on the internet, and I went back and watched it in the press conference. To me, it was like EDC saying, somebody please give me a third-round pick for this guy. I don't want him anymore. That could be wishful thinking on my part, and, kind of, I have a contrived narrative here that I want Mark Andrews gone, and so I'm looking to fit the available information to support my line of thinking. I think regardless, I don't think that they are now calling teams saying, hey, do you want Mark Andrews? I think that they're saying, if Colson Loveland doesn't fall to you, if Tyler Warren doesn't fall to you, I don't know what other tight ends people would be targeting, early in the draft, but if you have a need for tight end, give me a call. This is our price, and if you meet it, he's yours. I think it's very un-Ravens-like to pay that $4 million and just keep it as dead cap. But I also think with our cap situation and some of our needs, that $7 million may be better spent than having Mark Andrews on the roster.
Amen to that.
Yeah, so
basically, and we've been saying the same thing for weeks. Just you've actually alluded to that on previous shows, and then someone puts up an Adam Schefter thing where he basically quotes you verbatim of exactly what you just said, which is like, all right, so he listens to Zone 32. Good for him.
I get robbed by that fucking midget constantly.
Yep, that sounds about
when
right.
When do we not get robbed by those people?
I mean, I am the league source that Adam Schefter quotes in a lot of his tweets. Nobody knows that, but I figured I would just break that news here. But again, the argument for just getting rid of Mark Andrews for the sake of getting rid of Mark Andrews, I've kind of backed off of that. I do think that he is a detriment to our team's success in the playoffs. I do think that, he's kind of the relic of the Greg Roman offense, and I would like to move on from him. You've also now paid him $4 million of the $11 million that you're going to have to pay him this year. So, if you are stuck with Mark Andrews, it's not the worst thing in the world. I just hope that just because he costs a lot of money, they don't take targets away from Isaiah Likely for it. You know what I mean? That I would just go with the better player, not the guy you're loyal to. John Harbaugh, be willing to make a fucking change from a guy that you've essentially just fed the ball when he's not worthy of getting the ball. And again, I really hope somebody just swoops in and takes him from us. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the worst thing in the world. I would rather get a couple picks for Mark Andrews or package him with a couple picks and get a player, whether that's like Jair Alexander. I don't know who's still on the market that we could go get, but ideally he's gone. I've kind of, it's in somebody else's hands now, I would say, I guess is the best way to put it.
That's fair. And then I think I saw something where EDC mentioned they re-signed Ronnie Stanley because they weren't exactly. He's one of the better tackles, and there wasn't.
Left tackles don't grow on trees.
Yeah, and he wasn't too excited for this. What's in this year's draft?
I think his exact quote was something to the effect of what you have with Ronnie Stanley, and they didn't feel confident in anybody on the market or anybody in the draft filling those shoes. I would somewhat push back and say, you know what Ronnie Stanley is when he's healthy and when he's committed and when he wants to play every game. You got that from him last year, but he was also in a contract year. Are you going to get that again next year? I hope so. I don't think he's ever going to be pre-TJ Watt injury, Ronnie Stanley. But, again, if we get the Ronnie Stanley we got last year, he was not a problem. He got beat a couple times here and there. He had a couple bad games, a couple dumb penalties. But, in general, he was not the issue with our offensive line. So if that's the same guy we're getting, I'm fine with paying him the $20 million a year and, calling it a day. I think the problem in this year's draft, too, is that there's not a lot of, legitimate left tackles. And typically that's where teams go first on an offensive line draft-wise. So I think, like, the Will Campbells of the world are going to be gone way before we're ever in the mix to pick. So I don't think you're going to get a legitimate left tackle prospect to fall to you. And then you're talking about reaching on a guy who really might not be a day one impact starter, or, reaching on a developmental guy and hoping that he develops quickly and steps in and does his job. And that's kind of a dumb way to run a franchise. So I get why we brought Ronnie Stanley back. The contract we paid him was great compared to what people got on the open market. So I'm good with that.
Amen to that.
Factual.
And then go ahead.
Do it.
Oh, no, I was going to say, usually only you're getting a left tackle of that kind of caliber is if you're trading into the top 5 or top 10. And the dude last year was Joe Alt, but so otherwise it makes sense to keep Ronnie just from that perspective.
And Joe Alt only lasted to 5 last year, right? Yeah,
and the Chargers took him
to 5 because there were quarterbacks that went in front of him. So there were 3 quarterbacks that went in the top 5 picks. So he was kind of like the best of the rest there that somebody took. So. Yeah, we weren't sniffing a Will Campbell or a guy like that who's really gonna, be a starting left tackle. There's guys like Gray Zabel or was it Donovan Smith, the guy from Ohio State.
The Chiefs and the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Oh no. You're
Donovan
thinking
Jackson?
of Donovan Jackson. That's who you're thinking of.
Yeah. So again, but those are guys that like played tackle in college, but in the pro game that kind of profile more as guards. A lot of guys like that. There's that Membu guy. I think he's from Minnesota, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple guys that are look like legitimate tackle prospects, but it's hard to guarantee that we would have gotten one of them. So Cornerly from Oregon's another one. I would be very happy with them as our starting left tackle, but the reality of them falling to us is pretty low. So I kind of like the way we went about it, and we didn't have to overpay Ronnie Stanley. That's the key thing there. Is because I think if he actually hit the market, I think his years would have gone, closer to 5, and his guaranteed money would have been, $75-80 million instead of what we paid him. So I think it all worked out for the best there. I have a bit of a rant on an EDC topic too. So he mentioned that I think the number was 15 guys have been removed from their big board due to medical concerns and due to other red flags. I took that to mean that they took guys off their big board because they have character issues. I know we've harped on this all offseason, but you cannot be talking about people's character concerns while you still employ Justin Tucker. I'm sorry, but that's no longer a valid excuse for me. I understand that, it's in some cases it's a very bad investment to give a first-round pick, give first-round money to somebody who is an asshole or is going to be some kind of legal issue or maybe is uncoachable, whatever the fuck the red flag is, because he didn't specify what the red flag was. But my problem is that you cannot have a guy on your roster accused of what Justin Tucker is accused of while still trying to play this holier-than-thou card. I was tweeting Jeff Zreback earlier. The Ravens don't have any assholes on the team. And I think that a functioning team, you need a couple of assholes. You need a Bernard Pollard. You need a Ray Lewis. You need an Ed Reed. You need somebody who's a little bit fucking crazy that you don't really know what you're going to get out of them, personality-wise. This team has lost in the playoffs year after year because not only do they make mistakes, but they always, they compound on those mistakes. Mm-hmm. And so it's not just one turnover, it's 2 or 3. And then defensively, they get bullied up front. They don't have any assholes on the team. Like the last asshole that we had on the team was cut because he punched Chuck Clark in the face. They then kept Chuck Clark for 2 more fucking years, and that guy kept misaligning the defense for 2 years. So, like, you had nobody holding players accountable. There's stories of Earl Thomas calling Brandon Williams like a fat pussy and telling him to play games because they were getting torched on the ground without him. Like, you kind of need a guy like that for a functioning team. You need somebody who's going to not only play their position well, but also, like, get in guys' faces sometimes. Lamar is not that guy. Lamar is not that kind of leader. And, like, it would be great if Lamar was that kind of leader, but asking him to be that guy after 7 years of showing who he is, like, I don't think that's reasonable to ask. That's just not who he is. Ronnie is, I get shit for calling him he's soft. He's a smart guy. He's from Notre Dame. He's not just an asshole like that. I think Linderbaum and Rosengarten might have some of that kind of dumbass asshole streak in them. I mean, when Lamar was getting hit out of bounds, like, it was always Rosengarten was right there in somebody's face. So,
and Boney mentioned Marcus Peters.
Yeah, so the problem with Marcus Peters was that when the asshole side came out, he also sucked. Like, he was coming off an ACL tear and wasn't the same guy physically anymore. You need a supreme talent who's kind of a dick. Terrell Suggs, I'm sure, was a dick. I mean, again, Terrell Suggs is allegedly, punching his wife in the neck and pouring bleach on her and dragging her from a car. Like, that's not a great.
And waving a pistol in a Starbucks drive-thru.
I mean, you just go into a fight. Yeah, exactly. You just fucking pulled a gun on somebody in a Starbucks drive-thru. Like, is that great behavior? Like, do I want my children to go to Starbucks and pull a gun on people? No. But, that guy was really fucking good at football. So that's really what I care about when it comes to the Ravens is kind of what happens in between the lines when we're talking about shit like assault. You know what I mean? I don't think beating your wife is cool. I don't really like that. But, like, if you're kind of a little fucking crazy and you might pull a gun out at Starbucks or, Richie Incognito was kind of a whack job. Like, tried to fight somebody at his father's funeral because he wanted to, like, cut his dad's head off and cryogenically freeze it like Ted Williams. That guy's a little bit unstable, but, like, you sort of need somebody like that in the locker room. You need that guy who's going to fucking fly off the handle and get in people's faces and tell them to do their job better. And so we just don't have anybody like that anymore. And this, you've killed the allure of the Ravens only wanting good people on the roster by keeping Justin Tucker. So if you're going to do that and you're going to keep a sexual deviant, why not get me somebody who's kind of a dickhead, who maybe committed some vehicular crimes in college or, I don't know, sold drugs or fucking beat up somebody in high school. Like, why are we picking and choosing here? Why are we keeping up this choir boy act when, we're kind of missing that vocal leader on both sides of the ball? And, people mention Roquan Smith, like, again, pregame speeches, blah, 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 cool. Like, that guy's soft. You don't check out of a fucking Steelers game for a hamstring injury if you're a hard-nosed guy, if you're an asshole. When he's never hitting guys late after plays. He's never starting shit. You know what I mean? When somebody hits Lamar out of bounds on the Ravens sideline, he's never in their fucking face causing problems. You see flashes of it from Kyle Hamilton, like, great. If he's going to take a step forward and be a little bit more vocal about it, cool. Marlon's not that kind of guy. I'm fairly convinced, like, Marlon would be like a homeless guy lecturing me about NFTs if he wasn't good at football. Mm-hmm. That's not really the guy that's going to fire up your defense. So we need a little more edge to the team. We need a little more character. We don't really have that. And so you're just kicking guys off your draft board because God knows what they did in college. Somebody told you they were uncoachable or whatever the fuck the problem is. I don't love that. Kind of bothers me. Jake, I feel like you have thoughts on this topic that you're not sharing.
Oh, about assholes? No, I don't disagree with that. We've already had our discussion on Earl Thomas previous episodes, so there's no real need to get back into that. But no, you're right about it's hypocritical to say we're taking people off the board due to character concerns while we're employing Justin Tucker as our kicker. You're absolutely right on that. I guess the only
Like, I
key
would
is,
argue there's no bigger character concern than Justin Tucker.
yeah, there really isn't. Well,
That's about it.
I'd say
Yes.
the only, taking them off the board because they're an asshole, I don't think that's probably right. Or not right, but I
Now,
don't think it's right
if
to
they
do.
had-
So long as they're like all in on football. If they're malcontents who don't want to practice and want to basically whine and bitch, that's different.
So
Those are
I look at
turds.
I look at George Pickens as the gold standard of guys that, Grant would call a dog and say that he would want on the team. And when we don't draft guys like George Pickens, I understand it because George Pickens is a selfish little baby. And when George Pickens isn't getting the football every play or he's getting shut down, like, he pouts and he takes himself out of games and he becomes a net negative. So when you don't draft a guy for reasons like that, I understand it. When you don't draft a guy like Jalen Carter because he, killed somebody in his car, whatever the fuck Jalen Carter did, like, I'm kind of like, that's a dumb kid who made a mistake. And so he's kind of got that idiot streak in him maybe, but he also on the field, he's not a problem. So why are we putting guys in the same category when, there are specific, like, diva traits that you don't want in players, and I understand that. But I wouldn't call that a red flag. I would just say this guy's an uncoachable asshole. I don't want him. Whereas, this guy got arrested for, I don't know, selling crack in 8th grade. Like, who the fuck cares? You know what I mean? It doesn't really affect him football-wise. If he's not going to continue to be a drug dealer or continue to go out and assault random citizens, like, why not give him a shot if he works on the field? Don't take talent off your board because something happened 5 years ago that might be bad, I guess, is my overarching point here. And I also understand it's a bit hypocritical for me to say that, like, get Justin Tucker off the team, but draft this guy. But my whole thing is that, like, you are standing behind Justin Tucker at this point as a team. And there's no other way to read it. Like, they haven't cut him yet. So they clearly don't have as big of an issue with what Justin Tucker did as I do. So if you're not going to draw the line at Justin Tucker, then why draw the line at a college prospect? Is my kind of issue there. And, the Ravens can play dumb and say that they didn't know about Tucker until after the fact and blah, blah, blah. But, like, that's just stupid semantics at that point to me.
Exactly. And just, I get it if, like, there's any type of, like, sexual allegations behind these kids in college. Yeah, definitely, 100%. Stay away from them. But
so I don't know. Let me throw a name out there. I don't know if this is a guy the Ravens took off their big board. So Mike Green allegedly has 2 sexual assault complaints against him. They happened before he was a freshman in college, and nothing has come out of them. I would like it if somebody besides Mike Green cleared himself of them and said that they were, not true and that somebody was extorting him or whatever his, excuse for it was. But, like, so it's been years since those allegations have come to public light, and there has been nothing that's come out of it. So why are you discounting him, but you keep Justin Tucker? Like, that's my whole beef. If you cut Justin Tucker and then you say, I don't want to draft Mike Green, you're being consistent to me. If you stand behind Justin Tucker, but you're like, fuck Mike Green, he's an asshole, I'm like, you're picking and choosing there. And that's kind of dumb to me. So if you're going to, get rid of this whole good boy image, fucking go all in. Draft a bunch of criminals for all I fucking care.
And, I would agree with that. But the thing is, I understand where the team is coming from on a financial standpoint, even though I think a couple weeks ago, we had come to the conclusion, like, are they real? If they were really that concerned about was it like 4 million, 6 million, somewhere around there?
Well, so, I mean, at this point, you can cut Justin Tucker, and I think you save $4 million against the cap. And if you void him, you save like $5.6 million, I don't know. So that $3 million, like, if you really want to make a stand and really say that, we have a zero tolerance policy and we're against this kind of behavior, like you can eat $3 million and get rid of Justin Tucker, and nobody's going to think otherwise. It's not like you can't cut Justin Tucker for cause on the field either. So it's not like Justin Tucker can come back and say, you only cut me because I had these sexual assault allegations. Like, you were also the worst kicker in the NFL last year. So you're not playing up to the highest kicker in the NFL salary-wise standard, and you're a fucking scumbag off field. Like, goodbye. And if you're drawing a line in the sand to defend your guy there, then why can't you draw a line in the sand and defend a fucking prospect who had something happen 5 years ago that, maybe they've grown from it. Maybe that's not their character anymore. Maybe Mike Green really didn't do anything wrong. I don't know. I don't know enough about the cases because they're not really, fully out there. But the lack of consistency always bugs me from this front office. You can't put out this facade that you're, holier than thou and then protect Justin Tucker. So I'd have no problem with the red flags off the draft board if Justin Tucker wasn't on the roster anymore. I don't know why he's still here, is really what it boils down to.
Which, that's a fair assessment, and I can agree with that as well. The only reason why I would also agree with the Ravens and their, stance on waiting till the investigation is 100% complete is to give that little bit of leeway with adding to Zamboni's comment here, wanting extensions for Hamilton and Linderbaum, so every dollar counts wherever we can get it. I can see that, but at the end of the day, you have to see what's morally and ethically right. At this point, for me, I'm with you. Just get him off the team.
Right, like you're selling your morality for $3 million at this point, is what it comes off to as me. Again, the Ravens have preached this zero tolerance policy since Ray Rice, and we can really get into it. And I think that was a crock of shit at the time, and I don't think they've ever really adhered to this zero tolerance policy. But when they're asked about it, Harbaugh had a very pointed quote about Deshaun Watson years ago, that they have this zero tolerance policy and blah, blah, blah. So, like, it's getting put to the test with Justin Tucker, and you're saying that $3 million is actually worth more than your zero tolerance policy, which would make your zero tolerance policy basically worthless, because your zero tolerance policy is worth a minimum salary in the NFL to you. You value a minimum salary more than what's supposed to be like a code of conduct amongst your players. So, we had Jimmy Smith forever who had domestic abuse allegations. We extended him multiple times after that. We had Suggs. Like, we've had guys since Ray Rice that have had some issues off the field. So clearly we don't have a zero tolerance policy, but why are you applying that to the draft but not to guys already on your roster? That's what doesn't make sense to me. I mean, again, like DUI is not a joke. Like, people die in drunk driving accidents all the time, and you signed Ben Cleveland back after he got what was it, like a .12? Like, that's not I had 3 drinks, officer, and I thought I was below the legal limit, but I was just over it. Like, that's a, fairly serious offense there, DUI-wise. So, I don't know. It bugs me to see the lack of consistency, and I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, not, draft role models, I guess, would be my larger concern here.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, I'm in the business of, like you said, winning Super Bowls and fielding the best team possible. And when you have a kicker who not only isn't giving you production on the field, but is a serial happy ending demander, that's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak from their point of view, but I feel like you're alienating like half of your fan base too, by keeping Justin Tucker around.
Yep.
So like you've sold out your morals for $3 million while alienating half of your fans. I feel like that's not good for business to keep him around. And then on top of that, you're pissing people like me off because you're like not being consistent about it. So
if I had his jersey, I would have already given it back to the Goodwill. But I don't buy kicker merch, so there's that.
I have a Justin Tucker jersey, but it's got an American flag on it, so I don't know what to do with it. Can't burn it.
No, you can't burn it.
Can
Could
you
be
take
America.
this
Goodwill or
stitching off,
Salvation
or
Army.
can you take the name off the back?
I mean, I'm sure somebody who knows how to use like a needle and thread probably could. I can't. Fuck, do I look like some kind of sewing expert here?
I was just asking if you can remove it, whether it'd be taking the sewing and needle to seamstress or just ripping it off and
Are
not
people
giving a
still
fuck.
seamstresses in 2025? That's still
Yeah.
like a real profession.
I'm pretty sure it's still a real profession.
If I Google one near me, maybe I'll do that. But then who's going to take number 9? Because if I'm going to get some like asshole backup quarterback, then have to be worth it, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I can't sew, so I can't take that off. Would love to, but BT thinking I know how to sew is a fucking wild.
I didn't
Wild
think you knew
statement.
how to. I was just saying, like, maybe you
I mean,
can
He
just rip
thought
the
that you
fucking
might
name
know
off.
someone who did.
Yeah,
You've watched me try to navigate an iPhone before. And
this
it's
is
like
also
not-
true.
It's like not pretty, but you think that I have like the manual dexterity and skill to remove stitching from things.
Oh
I
no,
could tear that
I
jersey
thought you
apart
would have
with my
just
bare
ripped
hands.
it off and with no regards to the threading.
No, because it's like stitched in. It's like a real nice jersey.
Like the actual
bought-
nice ones.
Well, I mean, I bought it from China, but
That's fair.
pre-tariff, so it's fine. I didn't get the
Shoot.
128% tariff hit, but
Donate it to a thrift store. Be done with
Yeah.
it. Someone else can rock it if that's what they want to do.
I don't like thrift stores in general. I think they're a dumb idea.
That's fair
We're
too,
getting-
but
we're getting-
it's a
we're
means.
getting way off the
It's a
rails on
means to
that.
get rid of your old shit.
If I
It is
could
also
like
true.
trade it, if I could trade it for something of value, then I'd definitely do that. Like the
Yeah.
Patriots offered when Aaron Hernandez killed a bunch of people.
Mhm.
Like you could bring
Buybacks on
Aaron
his
Hernandez.
jersey.
No, it wasn't even buybacks. It was like swap outs. So like you went to Gillette and like threw your Aaron Hernandez jersey in some big pile, and then they gave you a voucher to go get a free jersey from the team store. I'd happily do that. Like make it where I supported the team by buying Justin Tucker merchandise, and then I look like an asshole for it. So let's make me not look like an asshole anymore, Ravens.
Yeah, I'm so glad I never bought me a Justin Tucker jersey.
Right?
Because at one point,
I mean, I've made a lot of bad jersey purchases, so I can't act like it's the worst one. Like I have a Will Hill jersey. The year after I bought that, he like washed out of the league because of drugs. I have a Danny Woodhead jersey, CJ Mosley jersey. Like I got a bunch of ones that Earl Thomas, a bunch of ones that are didn't age too well, but that one has by far aged the worst. So I don't think anybody would punch me in the face for wearing like a Will Hill jersey in public. I think I might get punched in the face if I wear a Tucker jersey in public.
It's fair.
And we have this weird thing where anytime my wife buys me a jersey, they seem to go either get traded or go elsewhere in free agency. So I'm not buying a new jersey for a while.
Yeah, good call.
There,
Don't jinx anybody.
Exactly.
I had a streak like that for a minute, and then I got a Lamar jersey the year he got hurt against the Broncos, but then he wound up getting paid, so the streak is over.
Interesting. So you blamed, Dr. Tom for the Lamar injury, but it might have actually been your fault.
No, because I got that at the beginning of the year. He literally did that the week of that injury.
The high knees.
The high knees. The Russell Wilson
look,
high knees.
Look, for public consumption, it's Tom's fault, but now privately, I may think it was partially Jake's fault. It was actually Will's fault, but we won't get into that. Will
That's
Will
a whole
shows up around
nother
the stadium
topic.
and,
Problem was I got
Will's
that
not-
jersey
Corey
like
Zamboni, Will's not here
in the
to
off
defend himself,
season.
so I can't point out
So, like,
uncomfortable truths about Will.
January.
Oh, so you got it before the new league year of the next year?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
You
that
might be safe.
so exactly. No, this
So
is
it's a Will
now
and Tom production that he got hurt.
it's 100% Tom for why that shit happened. But
Based
Tom is
off
banned from the
everything that I've
podcast.
come across, it's 100% Tom's fault, and we will
Well, I mean-
continue to punish him.
Yep.
It's a much easier way to live life when something goes wrong. Just be like, God damn it, Tom, and then move on.
Yep.
Absolutely. And we will punish him.
Most bad things in the world can be somehow linked to him. 6 degrees of separation with Kevin Bacon. Like you can do 6 degrees of separation from any tragedy, and Tom's somehow involved. So,
Yep.
And I would also like to point out that Tom is probably also the reason why Brian won't jump in the harbor.
No,
Yeah.
Brian won't jump in the harbor because he regrets making that bet.
That's true too.
Wasn't even a bet too. Is the best part of that?
It was just an open thing. Like if he
said he would
he
do
does this, he'll do it. Like Calvin with
tweeted
his
him,
ass tats.
They were talking about who's going to drop to us at 14, blah blah, and I'm like, Kyle Hamilton might fall. Like safety is a position that draft wise has just always been undervalued, and that good safeties tend to fall. And he just unprovoked said, if Kyle Hamilton falls to 14, I will jump in the Inner Harbor. I didn't ask him to do that. He just did it on his own volition, and now won't follow through on the bet. I mean, We're talking about Calvin. You brought his name up. Like, I haven't seen any field goals get attempted.
Nope, he is not.
Just saying.
This is also true.
Came on here and I could make 3 30-yard field goals or 35-yard field goals or the fuck they were.
Yep.
Where's the fucking field goals, Calvin? Hey, Will,
We're
you're
waiting.
an athletic director. Where's the fucking field, asshole?
That's right.
Yep. Celebrating National Anal Day with Big Dog Dad instead of kicking field goals with Calvin. I'm like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here?
That's fucking right. Well, either one of you two gents have anything else to add to the table, or should we end it?
Top conspiracy theory we missed last week, Jake. Go.
Fuck. What did we miss last week?
Naldo brought up flat Earth, and we kind of roasted him for it.
I
just
the
want
only
to say again,
the only thing related to flat Earth was this fucking bit on this show, this fucking Adult Swim thing I've seen called Smiling Friends. The last little punchline joke was funny and it involved flat Earth, but otherwise, yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Jeffrey Epstein files don't exist.
Yeah. Oh, dude. All redacted. All redacted by the real culprits.
Not to get too political here, but you had a bunch of fucking morons like libs of TikTok and fucking other weirdos like at the White House with these weird ass binders. Oh my God, these Epstein files are great. Where the fuck are they? Why can't I read?
Yeah. Yeah, that's controlled that is what we call controlled opposition, homie. They are not your friend. Benny Johnson is not your friend. Loser TikTok is not your friend. They're all out to fuck you.
Loser is a loser.
Yep.
Top 5 worst human being on the internet by far.
Yep. They are not your friend. That is as simple as it gets. And
I mean, the JFK files came out before
they did
Epstein list.
Okay, guys.
Implicated our own government.
Jake,
came out
die.
before the Epstein list.
I'm just saying. He's catering my sensibilities right here.
Is BT part of the group that is suppressing the Epstein files? People are
no, because they're already available. It's just people are too stupid not to go read them.
The Epstein files, it's all fucking blanked out except for a couple names you already know.
Exactly.
Why?
And then the rest of it,
am I trying to censor shit when it's already there in the public?
70 or 80% of it's censored.
I made a bold claim on this podcast that Keanu Reeves was going to be on the Epstein list like 3 years ago. I've been waiting for the list to drop so that I could be like, I fucking knew it. And then nothing.
It comes out redacted.
It comes out redacted. Like, give me a name. Just one name.
Yep.
Tom Hanks, Keanu Reeves. I don't fucking know. Jay-Z. Whoever the fuck it's going to be.
Tom Hanks was not redacted. Tom Hanks was not redacted in that, but still.
Also, his kid freaks me out. Chet. Like, thinks he's Jamaican. Like, what are we doing here, pal? White boy summer.
Right. Yep. But yeah,
what else can we make BT uncomfortable with?
I missed last week's controversry because of some personal shit in here.
Now you gotta suffer.
That's right.
The communal suffering.
I already said Taylor Swift is like a fucking succubus that came from came from hell to suck the life out of the human body.
I gave that some thought. I think she's just like an industry plant. I think she was like created in a lab.
I think you're right.
I saw somebody like post a little Instagram story about Taylor Swift being like this long lost fucking like daughter of a Satanist or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know. It's probably not real, but I want to believe it's real. So because that's funny to me. So I'm just gonna roll with that.
Have you seen all the like weird pictures floating around Twitter of people will go back to drawings of like random famous people from like the 1400s, and they look exactly like. I saw Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Trump, like a bunch of famous people today, so that there's like clones or time travelers or some shit. I'm gonna have to dig more into that one. It piqued my interest.
Well, if Grant doesn't show up next week to finish off his BDSM shit, we'll get into that.
We're gonna do top 5 clones in existence today.
Yep. Which
Grant,
is funny because
challenge to you, show up next week. You fucking
show up next week, especially because I didn't even think about this, but the draft is next Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, Annie Agar's not funny, so stop watching her fucking videos and fucking show up to the podcast, dick.
Do your BDSM list, do your big black cock list, do what you fucking need to do. Appease to your god, O.J. Simpson, do what the fuck ever. But anyway.
Look how embarrassed BT is right now because of you, Grant. This is 100% your fault. Yeah. It was 100% avoidable.
1,000%.
Oh, no, I'm not necessarily embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. I was just responding to a message.
There it is.
Did your handler reach out and say, get them to stop talking about the Epstein files?
No. It wasn't him this time.
Okay,
not this time. Anyway.
Good to go.
That's going to do it for this week. We'll be back to discuss this, that, and the other. Either conspiracies or big black cock lists, whatever. But meanwhile, it's time for me to die.
See ya!
This is where Grant would say, see ya.